Hello, everybody. This is Cody Bateman. Welcome to a brand new episode of our relationship marketing podcast. Super excited, like I always am, for the guests that we have on today. I've been waiting a long time to get this guy with us, one of the icons of the network marketing profession, Mr. Richard Bliss Brooke. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Cody. Thanks for having me on.
You got your Hawaii shirt on, coming in from Hawaii. You live in Hawaii. Let's start there. Tell us a little bit about living in Hawaii. What's that like?
Well, I never thought I'd live in Hawaii. I always thought I was more of a, Baja kind of guy than a Hawaii kind of guy. But yeah, we live on a little island called Lanai, which I think is the largest private island in the world. It's owned by Larry Ellison.
Oh, wow.
And it's the island that if you're on Maui, if you're a tourist on Maui and you're looking out in the ocean, you're looking right at Lanai. Little tiny island, only 3,000 people, one grocery store, one gas station, no stoplights, speed limit's 35 miles an hour, no fast food, no neon. Everything is a throwback to the 1950s Hawaii. And we love it here.
Wow. That sounds intriguing. That sounds like a lot of fun. So for all of us who are listening in who may or may not know this guy, I don't know how you wouldn't know. You got to live under a rock if you don't know this guy. Richard Brooke, again, an icon of the network marketing profession. He's got a couple of books out that are super, super, super good. Highly recommended. Author of The 4-Year Career, and I love The Mach 2 with Your Hair on Fire. A couple of great books that you've written years and years ago. He's also the host of the Network Marketing Heroes podcast. And a lot of our listeners, Richard, they're part of traditional sales channels, traditional marketing channels, and network marketing or direct sales is a little bit new to a lot of them. We got a lot of network marketers that listen in, but got a lot of traditional marketers that listen in. And there's one of the things that I like to do is whenever I have a guest on here from the network marketing profession, I really like to spend a little bit of time educating on the value of this amazing profession. You and I share the same love affair with this profession called network marketing, and it's highly misunderstood. And you've done such a great job over the years helping out with that. You've done such a great job of educating the world what network marketing really is versus what the perception of it is. Can you spend a little bit of time with our listeners right now and just share with us a little bit about what network marketing really is and why it's such a viable business model today?
Well, I'll tell you what it can be and what it could be and what it's not always,
right?
Which is, the public has a perception about network marketing. The profession has a reputation, and yes, it's misunderstood, but I think reputations are also earned.
Yeah.
So, what people think about network marketing and how they feel about it is really a result of how people have represented the model and product lines to them since network marketing was created in 1946. And, it's the kind of, as you know, Cody, it's the kind of financial opportunity that kind of has people go crazy sometimes when they figure it out, because it has a tremendous upside. And, most people don't take advantage of it for sure. The success rate is not what it should be. But when people understand the model, they tend to spin out, wig out, and they kind of go crazy and talking to people. And that can create a bad reputation because it lands as exaggeration and hype and manipulation, and it probably is, right? But here's what network marketing could be and can be, and it's in the most fundamental state. It is somebody has an experience with a product that's a powerful experience. Somebody falls in love with a product line. Sometimes they fall in love with the product line at the same time they see the income opportunity. But in most cases, people fall in love with the product line first, and they become, a raving fan of a particular product line. Now, out in the normal world, if you're a raving fan of a product line, you might talk about it a little bit, you might recommend it, but you're not going to get compensated for that unless you're an affiliate. That's really the only way to get compensated for it. But in 1946, this company called California Vitamins, which has an interesting history in the history of network marketing, they invented the model of network marketing. They were a direct selling company like all traditional direct selling companies, where it was the company who decided who got to sell. So the company hired the salespeople, and the company decided who was a sales manager and got a team on which they might get an override. That's traditional direct sales, been around for thousands of years. In 1946, California Vitamins, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in their management meeting. I don't know what they were high on, but they just decided to break all the rules and shift the paradigm of direct selling. And the one thing they decided, which was crazy actually, is they just decided, you know what, we're going to let every customer that wants to become a sales manager, a sales leader. We're going to let every customer that wants to build a sales team. And we're going to let them get overrides on that sales team. And I don't know if they understood at the time the concept of compounded growth. But by allowing every customer to build a sales team, if you think about it, so Cody, if you're a customer of mine and I say, hey, oh, thanks for being a customer. Hey, you want to build a sales team and get overrides on this product? And you say yes. Well, now you're a salesperson, but you can now do the same thing, right? You can build a sales team, and the people that you bring in can build a sales team. And that what that leads to is that sort of typical, four who get four, who get four, who get four, who get four. And people think it's a chain letter and they think it's a pyramid scheme because it grows that way. But it's the same way money grows, compounded interest. It's the same way lily pads grow. It's the same way rabbits grow, right? It's the same concept. Only now the sales force is huge.
Yeah.
And, Amway's an $8 billion a year company, not because their salespeople are really good salespeople or their products are the best on the planet. It's because they got about 4 million salespeople around the world. And so that's simply what network marketing is. It's people who authentically fall in love with the product, and then they want to build a sales team. And if they get other people who authentically fall in love with the product, they can build a sales team. And because of that, you can end up with 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 people on your sales team. You can get paid on all of them. And that's where people get dizzy about the financial opportunity, because it's really quite extraordinary. But the one thing about network marketing that's different than traditional sales, Cody, which I marvel in the authenticity of it, is you can't succeed in network marketing unless you're truly a raving, authentic fan of the product. I can drive my BMW into the back lot of my Mercedes dealer and go out front and sell Mercedes. If I'm a good salesperson, right?
Right.
But you can't, for example, not send out cards and build a sales team and send out cards. You can't do it.
Right.
It's just like oxygen, to a human being, right? You just can't survive in the environment unless you're an authentic customer. And, that's just one of the beautiful things about network marketing. And, why some of us love it so much is it does have that authenticity. It has that integrity of the only people promoting, you may think they're promoting for money, but the core of it is they're promoting a product that they authentically would use and they would promote whether they got paid to or not. And then, from a financial aspect, nothing can compete with network marketing in the wealth building aspect for those who are successful, which admittedly is very few. But you can build a network marketing sales organization once in 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and you can get paid on it for the rest of your life, even generations beyond your life. And there's not any opportunity like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's interesting is, a lot of our listeners come from the insurance industry, the real estate industry, inside sales and things like that. And they understand. We've had a lot of, we've had a lot of guests on this show before who talk from these different professions, not just network marketing, but all these different professions. They get that whole 80-20 or 90-10 or 95-5 rule applies to every industry, meaning very few people succeed at that top level in any industry.
Yep.
I know network marketing gets a lot of flack, if you will, for there's only a small percentage that do really well. Well, real estate people kind of laugh at that because they're like, well, there's only a small percentage that do really well here too. So why is that? It's not just network marketing in any profession, especially if it's any kind of independent type of sales scenario. Real estate's pretty independent. So why is it that the scenario is so skewed where such a small percentage succeed in any sales profession versus the massive amounts that don't?
Well, I think what it is, Cody, is the appeal of being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, being independent, having freedom, having upside in your career. The appeal is very strong. And the barrier to entry in a lot of professions, whether it's real estate or insurance or network marketing, is really low.
Yeah.
Right? You can become a network marketer for 50 or 100 or 200 bucks. You can become a realtor for $1,000. You can become an insurance agent for probably a couple of $1,000s. You got to take some tests and do some studying. But really, anybody can join the entrepreneurial, if you will, almost gig workforce. So anybody is the 100%.
Yep.
Now we got to look at, okay, what does it actually take to be successful so that you rise to the top 5%, top 1%? Well, that takes doing the work every day.
Yep.
Without a boss telling you if you don't do it, you're fired.
Yep. Without
having to actually show up to an office. And if you don't show up and punch in, you're fired. And my sense is that I think the reason I wrote the book Mach 2 a long time ago was I learned early on, everything rises and falls on motivation. The people that succeed as entrepreneurs learn the art of self-motivation. They don't need somebody else to motivate them. They motivate themselves. And they do that a variety of different ways, but they're very clear about what they want out of life. They have a story, right? So you have a great quote about stories. They have a story in their mind that suggests that their success is inevitable. They see themselves winning. They see themselves doing the work, which I think is, that's something that I focus on in coaching people. It's not just seeing the big picture as winning in the big picture. It's actually seeing yourself doing the work, seeing yourself doing the daily process that leads to the success. The people that win have a story that, hey, I can do this. This is what I do. I love doing this. This is who I am. This is my process. I'm in love with the process. And I'm going to win. And I'm also here to serve people. So, the 95% that don't succeed, they tend to have a story that sounds like, what if I don't succeed? What if they don't buy? What if they don't like me? What if I don't know what to say? Or they have a story like, oh yeah, I should call people today, but I'll call them this afternoon. And then, then this afternoon comes around, they say, well, I'll call them tonight. And then I'll call them tomorrow, right? So people that are embedded in procrastination and self-sabotage and worry and doubt and, even the fear of success, oh, what if I become successful and I lose my way in life? And those are all stories that lead to the 80%, the 90%, the 95% that don't make it.
Yeah, very
And the
true.
people that make it just make up and rehearse and embed themselves in a story of success.
Well, and I like how you coach people to focus on not only what the outcome is, but focus on, what's the story of the process? How do I visualize doing the work every single day? One of the things I've really noticed, I absolutely love, and I encourage people to do this all the time, whether you're a sports fan or not, doesn't matter what, any team sports, any team. In fact, it could be an individual sport too, but let's just take team sports, basketball, football, baseball, you name it, whatever. Watch the after the game interviews. I love to watch after the game interviews because winning teams, like winning coaches, think of them. Name whoever you want. I'm not going to name a coach because then somebody will be ticked off because they don't like that team or whatever. But think of a winning coach, a winning quarterback, and focus on the after the game interview. And you got this next big game coming up. What are you going to do? What's it going to take for you guys to get to the Super Bowl? And are you guys, capable of winning it all this year and all that kind of stuff? And it's so interesting because the winners, what do they always talk about? Always, every single time. The winners talk about, well, I don't know. All I know is we got to go to practice tomorrow.
Right.
We got to look at film. We got to make adjustments. We got a lot of areas to improve upon. And we're going to go to work. And we're going to work on those fundamentals. And we're going to get ready for our next game, study our competition and get ready for the next game. So our job right now is to get the next win. And that's what our focus is going to be. So what is it? What are they focused on? They're focused on the process.
Yep.
Not focused
on
on
the love of the game.
It's the love of the game and the process. And again, what's interesting to me about that is, too, there's a lot of critics. Anytime, the more success you have, the more critics you have. So you go back to the same sports scenario where, people are like, well, so-and-so said this about you, or, the media is saying that this and this, there's no way you can beat this team. And it's like, what do you have to say about that? The winners never get caught up in any of that. But why? Because it's not because they're super guru powerful. It's because they're laser focused on, well, I don't know. I just got to go to work tomorrow, look at film, and focus on the next game. I can't spend any time thinking about or hearing what other people are saying because I'm focused on the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's so imperative to success in any profession is to keep that focus. So one of the things, yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that I think has really done people a disservice, even though I totally believe in discipline and commitment, I mean, applied correctly, those distinctions have a lot of value. But if you think about how a lot of people have been told to succeed, is you got to be disciplined and you got to be committed. And I don't know, one of the ways I think about those words is, well, those are really only things that people need if they don't love what they're doing, if they're not motivated to do what they need to do. And I think so often the setup is kind of a bad setup, is the only thing I'm motivated by is the end result. If I'm not motivated to do the work, like if I don't love the work, and the way I see the work is a necessary evil, that I'm going to grind through the work. I'm going to be disciplined and committed to do the work. I really don't want to do the work. I really don't like doing the work, but I'm going to do it so I can be successful, so I can win the game or, cash the big check. I don't see people long-term winning that way because, the win is only a tiny percentage of the whole process. You might have a year-long goal that requires 364 days of work for one day of win, right? And if you have to do 364 days worth of stuff you don't want to do for one day of win, and you may not even win, right? You might come in second place. It's a bad setup, and it just doesn't work for people. So if you want to like stay healthy mentally and spiritually and physically, find something that you're in love with, or create the thing that needs to be done every day in such a way that you love doing it. You're in love with the process. Make that your affirmation. Make that your vision. You don't have to give up the big vision, but add to it. This is what I do, and I love doing it, and I'm good at it, and I do it every day, and I do it every day in every way. And like, just create that process where the single daily action, whatever it is, practice in sports, is something that's just part of your identity, and that's who you are and what you do. And then winning becomes a real natural outcome of the daily do.
Really good stuff. We are listening to Richard Bliss Brooke, one of the icons in the network marketing profession, best-selling author of the 4-Year Career, Mach 2 with Your Hair on Fire, host of the Network Marketing Heroes podcast. You want to go and check that out. You've done some incredible things, my friend. And one of the things I noticed in your notes here, I don't know what it means. Like, I'm going to put myself out there and be vulnerable for a second. It says in your bio that you're an ontological coach. Did I even say that word right?
You said it right. You know what
Did I
you're
say it
talking
right?
about.
Ontological coach. What the heck is that? What does that mean?
Well, it's part authentic, and it's part marketing. So from a marketing standpoint, people tend to ask me, what's that?
Well, it worked. It worked.
But it's also very authentic, because my coaching style and my coaching philosophy and strategy is to coach people on their state of being. And I would assert, Cody, you're also an ontological coach. You may not call it that, and you may not always see it that way, but I've watched you and experienced you, and that's exactly what you do. Is what we do in conversation with people is we shift who they are being, how they are being, and that starts with what they're thinking. It starts with their story. Mm-hmm. So, you and I both have the gift and the art of being able to hear people's stories and hear how those stories have them be. So, maybe perhaps a very simple example is, people, almost everybody in life wants a better life. Go ask 1 million people, do you want to be a millionaire? And everybody's falling all over themselves. Oh yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, now let's talk about what you need to do to become a millionaire. And, talk about the work ethic, talk about investing, talk about education, learning, changing, right? And you can just hear the people who are afraid. You can hear the people who don't think they deserve to be a millionaire. You can hear the people that are being small, and that's a story. Mm-hmm. And so what I do as a coach, and you do the same thing, is we hear the story, we reflect the story back on the client. This is what I hear. Is this true for you? And we listen for the answer if it's true, because we don't always know. And if somebody says, yeah, actually that is true. Okay, now we're halfway home, right? Because if you want to solve a problem, you first got to know what the problem is. And the problem might not be work ethic. It might not be anything other than the person doesn't believe they deserve it. Or it might be that, I just was coaching somebody last night that was embedded in the story. I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, she must have said, I don't know. And 10% of the responses she gave me was, I don't know. And yet She has a very successful family and she has a very successful business. So the truth is she knows, but who she's being when it's up against something big is her default story is she doesn't know.
Right.
And, those things all come from our childhood. And so what I do as an ontological coach is I listen for the story, I verify the story, and they're the ones who verify it. I reflect it, and then I show them, hey, this is how you're going to play against your goals with that kind of story. Do you want to change your story? And of course, as you know, most people think whatever their story is, they're stuck with.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am, right? That's another story.
Learned that from my mom and dad, so it's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's really, really good stuff. So I'm going to have you help me out with one of my assignments. I've been asked to speak at one of the Network Marketing Association events, and the subject I've been asked to speak on is titled, I have the book called The Power of Human Connection. So what they want me to talk about is the power of human connection in the network marketing profession. So I'm going to have you help me out. And I want you to talk to us a little bit. I'm going to write some notes now because you're going to help me with my speech. When you hear that, what is the power of human connection in the network marketing field?
Well, I'd probably take a practical approach to that. One of the unique things about the network marketing field is our marketplace, the people that we would look to not sell our products. So, there's two things that we're selling in network marketing. One is we're selling our products. Products are actually pretty easy to sell. People are looking for high quality products, as long as we're talking to the right people. Like if I was a send out card salesperson, as long as I'm talking to a business person, an entrepreneur, somebody that wants to connect at a deeper level with their family, and maybe their family is extended, long distances. If I ran a church or, anything that had a community to it, I could send out cards so easy, right? It's just same thing if somebody's got really good nutrition. Well, talk to people that really care about their health, and selling the product's not that hard. The part that's challenging in network marketing is selling the income opportunity. And if you want to build a sales force, you not only have to sell the product, but you have to sell people on the idea of selling the product, right? And not only sell the product, but build a sales force of their own. And that's a challenge in network marketing because you could go ask 100 people out on the street, 1,000, 1,000,000 people on the street, hey, what do you think about selling nutrition or greeting cards or brownies or anything else? Hey, what do you think about selling this product? And we're going to do it like Amway. You know how Amway works? So I could call it multi-level marketing, direct selling, network marketing. They wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. But if I say Amway, they get it. Yeah. Right? So what do you think about selling this great product? And we're going to do it the way Mary Kay does, and Amway and Avon and Fuller Brush and Tupperware. And guess what? Whether I'm talking to 100 people, 1,000 people, or 1,000,000 people, almost all of them have already decided they don't want to do that. Right? So one of the reasons that network marketing is such a challenge and requires so much motivation is almost everybody you're going to talk to, at least the first time you talk to them, is going to say no.
Yep.
But here's the interesting thing about network marketing is all those same people want what we have to offer. So if I went to all those people and I said, hey, how would you feel? How would your life change? How would your family change if you inherited $1,000 a month for the rest of your life? People would be like doing backflips. They'd be, oh my gosh, now I can send little Johnny to college and we can take those vacations and we can pay off the credit cards. People are like going crazy, right? So people really want this kind of a financial opportunity, but they don't want to do network marketing. Mm-hmm. So how do you get them? Well, I'll tell you a story. So there's like two stories that rocked my whole career 30 years ago. One is the Larry Wilson New Way of Selling, and the other is a story I read in a magazine called Psychology Today about 30 years ago. And the story was about rapport building, which is, kind of an older way of saying relationship building, relationship marketing. And so Psychology Today was going to do this kind of like a test, right? So the editor of Psychology Today was going to get on a plane in New York and fly nonstop to Los Angeles. And what he was going to do for that 5.5 hour flight is he was going to casually, not interrogation, not interview, but he was going to casually ask his seatmate questions about the seatmate. What's your name? Where are you going? Why are you going to LA? Where do you live? Tell me about your family. What do you do for a living? What do you do when you're at work? Right? Just no specific questions, but just get to know the seatmate. And here were the rules. If the seatmate asked the editor a question, the editor was going to answer it, but he wasn't going to take that opportunity to then run with the conversation to tell the seatmate all about him. He was just going to answer the question and then follow it with another curiosity question about the seatmate. You got the setup?
Yep.
So they land at LA. They get off the plane. The staff is there at the gate, pre-TSA. This is a long time ago. They let the editor pass by them. They act like they don't know him. They intercept the seatmate. And they ask the seatmate, hey, what do you think about the guy you flew out here with? And he said, the most interesting man I've ever met. So they said, why was he coming to LA? Now, this is what the article said. I just take it for its word, right? He said, I don't know. What does he do for a living? I don't know. What do you know about his family? Nothing. What's his name? I don't know. That doesn't mean he didn't tell him, but we forget people's names 2 seconds after they tell us, right? So I'm reading this article, Cody, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm in this profession that I absolutely love. And what I realized, Cody, is almost everybody I know in the profession, there's like, 100 million people worldwide in network marketing. There's 30 or 40 million people in the United States in network marketing. Almost every one of them, you get them in a room, 10,000, 20,000 people, and you ask them, how many of you that are raving fans of network marketing said absolutely not the first time you were ever asked to look at this opportunity? And 80% of the room is going to raise their hand. Mm-hmm. 80% of the people that are in it were the people who had already made up their mind they weren't ever going to do it. And that was their first response the first time somebody asked them to do it with them. So what happened that they ended up at some time later an ambassador of network marketing? Well, I say they stuck around long enough to get through their bias and see something they didn't see at the first blush, see the value of what might be for their lives in network marketing. And I thought, oh my gosh, instead of me arguing with people about whether this is a pyramid scheme or whether they have time to do it or whether or not asking your friends to buy a product is okay. It's just like recommending a good movie or a restaurant, except, you don't try to collect the money from your friends about the movie you just recommended or the restaurant you just recommended, right? It's not like recommending a good movie or a restaurant because you're asking them to buy it from you and give you the money. Instead of arguing about all of that, what if I could have people find me so interesting that they would want to learn more about me, and that process could sort of circumvent their bias. Now, I'd already tried, Cody, for 10 years up to that point to be the most interesting person everyone had ever met. And how I did it was by the watch that I wore, the cars I drove, the home that I lived in, the $3,000 custom suits that I wore, my public speaking, my business cards that were like photographs of myself, parading around with the cover of Success Magazine. I tried to be the most interesting person they'd ever met by having it be all about me. Mm-hmm. And if there's one thing that network marketers have probably done in the last 70 years that has contributed to our bad reputation, is their marketing has been me marketing.
Yeah.
Look at my product, look at my opportunity, look at my clothes, look at my watch, look at my car, look at my house. And you should do what I do. And the epiphany I had from reading this article is, oh my gosh, all I need to do to have a quantum leap in success is be curious about other people. And I guess I had the good fortune, Cody, in that I was actually naturally curious about other people. I was actually more interested in learning other people's stories than I was telling my own. But I just got caught up in that whole marketing cyclone of the way I'm going to get people to fall for me is to be super cool. And, I suppose that worked to a certain degree because network marketing has worked to a certain degree in the last 70 years. But at the expense of what?
Yeah.
At the expense of our reputation.
Yeah.
Because now almost everybody in the country has decided they don't want to do that. So the way you be successful today is don't be that person.
Yeah.
Be the person that is the most interesting person they've ever met because you are the most interested person they've ever met.
Really good. You just, that's my speech. You just gave me my speech. That's good. If you give me permission to use that article story, I might use it. I just might do it. It's one of those things I have to, I got to do this thing in the morning and I don't have a whole lot of time. So who knows?
Hey, do it. Run with it.
Yeah. Thanks. So you and I have a fellow associate and dear friend by the name of Tom Chenault. Tom Chenault's a great guy, and he's done for years this concept called contact mapping. And when you were talking, it kind of reminded me of him. Contact mapping is it's a way that he keeps track of details about people when he meets them, and it's the core of everything he does. Like he's passionate about it. It's the core is that when I meet you, I'm going to put you in a contact management of some kind. But the notes section is what's most important. I'm going to make sure that I keep good notes. Now, one of the cool things that he does when you call and get his voicemail says, I don't know if you've gotten his voicemail before. His voicemail says, "Hey, do me a favor, tell me something about you that I don't know about you. Just give me something real quick that I don't know about you that I should know about you in your message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can." So I remember I did it, and I says, "Well, hey Tom, yeah, I like deep, I like backcountry snowmobiling in the mountains here in Utah. We call it steep and deep mountain riding with turbo snowmobiles." So guess what? The next 3 meetings that I had with him or him introducing me to somebody, guess what he talked about? This guy's a backcountry dude, jumps on these snow machines. Now, what do you think that did to our rapport, to the rapport I have with him? Simple little teeny things that you do. And again, it's all in the name of being truly interested, not interesting. And I think that that's really, really good.
Yeah, and I think you said something early on, Cody, that's so important for people that you just have to get. You can't fake this. This can't be a strategy.
Yeah.
And I think so many people that hear it think, oh, cool strategy. I'm going to do that. That's a great strategy. Just like you talked about early on, they're thinking, oh, marketing. Oh, yeah, relationship marketing. Oh, okay, I'm going to market that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, right? It's like trying to be a network marketer for a product you don't use. You have to either be or become the kind of person that truly values other people such that you can authentically make the conversation all about them.
Yeah.
And if you can do that authentically, naturally, and just be curious about other people and hold them in very high esteem and regard, you can be successful. If you try to use it as a strategy, it just won't work.
Very, very good point. Well, listen, Richard, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a long time in the waiting, and our listeners will be so appreciative of the golden nuggets of wisdom we've learned today from you. And just appreciate all you're doing. Keep doing more of it. You know, we need a lot more of you out there, and we just appreciate all you do.
Thank you, brother.
All right, there you have it, my friends. Come on back. Just remember, as we exit off here today, this is all about kindness. It's about being kind to other human beings each and every day of your life. Strive to reach out in kindness and create human connection through kindness of other human beings. The world needs a lot more of it. That's what this show is all about, is to talk about it. So take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Enjoyed this episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a review so that together we can get this message, The Power of Human Connection, out to the world. You can find Cody's new book, The Power of Human Connection, on Amazon or the Send Out Cards gift store.